Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is the founder of the company Forest Superfoods, no other than Mr. Justin Snyder.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Justin, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Justin. I run a company called Forest Superfoods, which is based in Australia. We've been operating for 13 years or 14 years now, and we sell the highest quality superfoods and medicinal mushrooms on the planet direct to people all over the world.
Mr. Justin Snyder, thank you so much for sharing your forest superfoods to the world. So, tell us, how did you build this company?
Very slowly. It took a long time. It started off very slow. There wasn't really, when we started, people didn't really know what superfoods were or what medicinal mushrooms were in the Western world. And so we've kind of had a role of educating people and explaining to people why you should buy Australian grown mushrooms and superfoods rather than stuff that's imported from overseas. And we've just been, really focused on giving people the highest quality stuff. And when people take a health food that helps them or changes their lives in a positive way, they then go and tell other people. So we're able to grow over the last 14 or 15 years, mostly just through word of mouth.
So, what are your struggles in the first year of Forest Superfoods?
Well, probably the first 5 years we didn't have any money. That was a bit of a struggle. There just wasn't any cash. We couldn't afford to hire people, so I'd kind of taught myself how to program, how to build a website, how to market, how to do stock management, all that kind of stuff. And I think it's really important to do that in the first stages of a business because you don't want to take on too much debt because it might not work. And I think having a debt around a business takes a lot of the fun out of it. So I didn't want to have any debt. I didn't want to take on any loans, and I just wanted to do it on myself and get better gradually. And so, I guess the biggest challenge in the start was cash flow, but also being able to get the word out there when you're a new company.
Certainly. So, do you think, Mr. Justin, Forest Superfoods, in terms of financially, is already stable?
I mean, I think it is stable. I think like we've got more than enough money to pay our bills. So I guess that's what I would that's how I would define stable in terms of a company. So it's taken a long time to get to this point, but it was really around COVID or just before COVID when we started to really start scaling and getting a lot of interest in our products, and it just kind of took off from there.
Certainly. So, when you're building this company, what lessons did you learn from it?
There's a ton of lessons I think I've learned. I think one is that it's often easier just to do things yourself. I think there's a lot, particularly in online business, people want to hire all different agencies to do all different things. And I think a lot of the time, the agency doesn't necessarily know your brand very well or your customer base or your products. And you'd be better off doing a lot of that work yourself. Instead of spending your time teaching the agency about your company so they can promote it, just learning how to promote it yourself. I think you can get much better results that way, and it's a lot cheaper because you don't have to pay the agency fees. I've also learned a lot about branding. So the company was originally called Cheap Superfoods because the
Yes.
other people in the market were very expensive, but we were selling the highest quality, certified organic, Australian grown, no alcohol added, no extracts, nothing like that. We're just selling the highest quality, purest superfoods we could. So calling it Cheap Superfoods didn't really make sense with the branding. So I changed it to Forest Superfoods, and that really helped people to understand what it is we do and why we're different rather than calling it cheap and then selling a high quality product. So I think making sure that your name of your business aligns with what it is your brand actually does is really important. And I think also, I always thought the most important, because I have an accounting background. So I always
Yes.
thought the most important thing was making sure the business was profitable. But actually, I think the most important thing now is getting sales. I think if you don't have any sales, the numbers don't matter. But if you have sales, you can always make the numbers work, and you can increase your average order value that people are spending, or you can get more people to spend, or you get people to come and buy again, or whatever it is. I think now I believe the most important thing is the marketing of the business. And then you can see companies like Red Bull that outsource everything except for the marketing, because they understand that's the fundamental part of their business, is selling energy drinks. And in
Yes.
that same way, I think whatever business you're in, your focus needs to be first and foremost getting customers, whether it's a service business or a good that you're selling. Customers are the most important thing. And so I try to focus now on how do we get in front of more people, and how do we build our customer base.
So, Mr. Justin, how has the company's mission evolved since its beginning?
The mission actually hasn't really changed that much. The mission at the start was to give people access to high quality, life changing foods. And that's still what we're doing now, where we focus on selling the highest quality products, because I think to take a low quality health food, to take like a cheap import that's an extract which is mostly alcohol and got fillers in and all that kind of thing, it doesn't really make sense. You're better off just not just eating fruit and vegetables. So I think when people are taking health foods, I think it makes sense to have the highest quality possible. And so that was our focus from the start, and that's still the focus now.
So, what core values guided Forest Superfoods in its daily operations?
It's really just one, just to sell the highest quality superfoods on the planet, just to really make sure that people get benefits from our products. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are happy to spend a little bit more to get a much higher quality product, and that's our
Yes.
market. They're the people we focus on. So our core value is really just on being exceptional. But I guess it's not just the products. We want the whole user experience to be exceptional. So for when they first see from someone when someone first tells them about Forest Superfoods ashwagandha or Forest Superfoods lion's mane mushroom or whatever it is, to when they go to the website, to when they place their first order, to when they receive the order, to when they place their repeat orders, and to when they interact with customer service, I'm trying to make every part of that interaction, that customer experience, as close to perfect as possible. Because I think when I was growing up, I worked a lot in my grandfather's shop, and he used to always tell me, you don't give people a reason to go somewhere else. As soon as
Yes.
people have a reason to take their business elsewhere, they will. So you need to make sure that every part of the process is as close to perfect as possible. And that's why we do all our own manufacturing in-house, and all our own customer service, and all our pick and pack and everything. We try and do everything in-house, because that way we can control the quality of the work is much more than if it's outsourced to someone else. And so yeah, we're just focused on making sure the customer has an exceptional experience, which includes having an exceptional product.
So, Mr. Justin, can you elaborate on the significance of the company's name change from cheaper or cheap superfoods to Forest Superfoods?
Yeah, it was. I mean, when you first start a business, you don't really. It's never going to be perfect. And at the time, there were two or three other sellers in Australia that were selling the superfoods similar to what we wanted to sell, but they were really, really expensive. And so my idea was we would sell them at a much more affordable price for people and make it accessible to everyone. And what actually ended up happening was that people assumed that we were selling low quality products because it was called cheap, because it was based on the price. And I realized, I spoke to my business partner at the time, and I said to him, how do you feel about the name Cheap Superfoods? And he says, I hate it. And he said, what do you think? And I said, I feel embarrassed telling people about it. And so that day, we just changed everything to Forest Superfoods. And there was a massive change that happened within us, because we became much more we became much more confident about the business, and we liked talking about the business much more. But it also made more sense with the brand, because a lot of products come from the forest, and we give $1 from every order to protecting endangered rainforest up near the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. And it just kind of made more sense with these products being whole foods that grow in nature, often in a forest environment, to call the brand Forest Superfoods instead of Cheap Superfoods. And it was at that point, even though I'd been in business for 10 years before that, I'd always thought that people wanted the cheapest price, but that's actually not correct. People don't want the cheapest price; they want the best value. And
Yes.
so you need, if you're selling a product which costs more than what your competitors do, your role is to explain why it's worthwhile for people to spend more on your products. And when I can explain to, and so I will often explain to people, if you buy a lion's mane mushroom, which is an extract, that's mostly alcohol. But if you buy the whole lion's mane mushroom, which is like what we sell, that's just lion's mane mushroom in a bottle. And we usually use 10 kilos of fresh lion's mane to make 1 kilo of freeze dried. So there's a huge amount that's gone in, as opposed to the extract, which takes a little bit and expands it out by diluting it in alcohol. So when we can make that comparison to people, we can go, you can spend a little bit more to get a much higher quality product. A lot of people are prepared to do that.
Certainly. So let's talk about the product range and quality. What criteria does Forest Superfoods use to select its superfood products?
There's a lot that goes into it. We only release one new product probably every 6 months or 9 months, because there's a lot of work that goes into getting a product ready for launch. The first thing we look at the scientific data that's around that superfood. So making sure there is actually scientific evidence that it does what it's supposed to do. And then also looking at potential side effects as well to make sure it's going to be safe for people to consume. And then we start looking for farmers to partner with. So we always look for farmers in Australia first, because anything that grows in the ground can only be as nutritious as the soil it's grown in. So if something's grown in poor quality soil where there's heavy metals and pollution, that's going to impact the plant, and particularly mushrooms, which are sponges, which will absorb heavy metals and pollutions from the air and the water. So we look for growers in Australia where it's grown out in the open, where there's no pollution and no heavy metal contamination, and grown to a high standard that's internationally recognized. And then we also look for stuff which is certified organic, because we want stuff which doesn't have herbicides or pesticides or GMOs or other chemicals in it. And if it's certified organic, it means it's audited by a third party to ensure that it really is chemical free. And that's something we always say, we wouldn't sell stuff that we wouldn't take ourselves. So I wouldn't want to take things that have got heavy metals in them or that have got chemicals in them. And so we make sure that the products we sell are in line with those values.
So that's why the company decided that the sourcing products locally in Australia only versus internationally.
Yeah, so most of our products come from Australia. Like all our mushrooms come from Australia, and our wheatgrass comes from Australia, and our barley grass and bee pollen. There's lots of companies from Australia. We go for Australian first, as long as we can find it organic in Australia. If we can't find it grown organically in Australia, then we look for outside sources, and we investigate those sources to make sure they're certified organic and how long they've been growing for, and that they have high standards of agriculture and all that kind of thing. So some of our products do come from overseas when they're not available in Australia, but the vast majority are Australian grown.
Certainly. So, Mr. Justin, let's talk about the product, not the product range. Let's talk about the customer experience and community engagement. How does the Forest Superfoods engage with its customer base?
In lots of ways. We have an email list of about 50 or 60,000 active subscribers that we send out regular emails to, and the emails are usually not about a product or a salesy kind of email. It's usually about how to improve your health naturally, because we have a nutritionist of 25 years who's part of our team, and so she will write the emails like 5 ways to improve your heart health naturally, or why exercise is important and the best way to exercise if you haven't done it before, and all different things to help people kind of improve their health naturally, not just about buy this product. And we also have a community group where I think there's about 9,000 people in our Forest Superfoods Facebook community group that converse and talk to each other and talk about what's working for certain things and what their experience has been, and ask each other questions. And so we try to foster a community atmosphere as much as possible in order to make sure that our customers have the best experience. And then we also have, really good support team in Australia. People can call us anytime they want. They can email us. They can talk to us on social media. We really focus on making sure the customer service is the best it can be, and we have live chat on the website. And we just try and make sure that people can get the information they need. And we've also got the quiz on the website as well. So
Yes, I saw it.
our nutritionists designed this quiz so you can answer a couple of questions and find out which superfoods are best for you. And that seems to be quite popular as well.
Certainly. So can you discuss the company's partnership with Rainforest Rescue and its impact?
Yeah, so I've decided very early on that I wanted to make sure the business gave something back to the community and left the world in a better place than we found it. And so we partnered over a decade ago with Rainforest Rescue, which is a not-for-profit organization in Queensland that buys parts of the Daintree rainforest, which is ancient rainforest from thousands of years ago. They buy parts of that and turn it into a trust so that it can't ever be developed and can't ever be sold again. So it becomes an environmental trust, and that land becomes protected. And if some of the rainforest has been removed, they replant it out again like it would have been thousands of years ago. Because the rainforest is the lungs of the planet. You might have heard people say this before. It's really important for human life, but for plants and the whole planet that we have dense rainforest covering a certain percentage of the earth. And so we thought that fits really nicely with the forest superfoods angle to be giving $1 from every order to Rainforest Rescue, which they then use to save thousands and thousands of acres. And I went up and visited them a couple of years ago at one of the sites that we've helped protect, and there were cassowaries on there, which are like a crazy bird that's almost they only exist in this one small part of Queensland. They don't exist anywhere else in the world, and they're almost like a giant ostrich, but they're multicolored and they've got these big kind of horn things on their head, which is they just look like a dinosaur. But they're endangered and they live in that area, so it's really cool to see like a family of them.
Certainly. We salute you, Mr. Justin, as the founder of Forest Superfoods. You're making our world a better place to live. So let's talk about the business growth and challenges. How did the release of the Netflix documentary Fantastic Fungi impact the company's sales and operations?
So I still remember we woke up one morning and sales had increased 5 times. Like the sales were just 500% better than what they would have usually been on that particular day. And I couldn't work out why. And then a few people messaged and said, oh, the Netflix documentary about mushrooms is so cool. And we realized that this massive documentary had come out on Netflix and really helped to educate people about the medicinal mushrooms. And our sales went crazy and we sold out of everything. I think in a week we sold out of all of our mushrooms, and then we had to wait for more to grow, which took like another month or something. So we were out of stock for a long time. And I learned some important lessons there about always holding plenty of stock for unexpected events. It was a massive turning point for us because that's when the mushrooms really started to become mainstream in Australia.
Would you like to do it again? Like
Sure.
that promotion?
Yeah, well, we had nothing to do with it. We had nothing to do with the Netflix documentary. It was created for I think they used Paul Stamets, who's an incredible mycologist from the US, as for part of the story. We had nothing to do with it. It was just that people watched the documentary and then went online and searched for high quality mushrooms and they found us.
Oh, good market indeed.
Yeah,
So lucky you, Mr. Justin. So what challenges has Forest Superfoods faced in scaling its operations?
I think staffing is probably the biggest challenge. Hiring people who are want to work hard. I don't like looking over people's shoulders. So trying to find people who want to just get the job done without needing somebody to micromanage them is quite difficult to do. And just finding people who want to be working, who believe in the mission and who want to be part of the team. that's always a bit of a challenge. But also, would say the other thing is maybe expanding internationally. Like we're on Amazon US now, and with our new website, we're able to send anywhere in the world and the website will automatically change to the currency of whatever country you're in. But expanding internationally has certainly been one of the challenges we've faced in terms of scaling. But it's a slow process, just like it was to build the business in Australia originally.
Certainly. So, what strategies are in place to adapt to market trends and consumer preferences?
Not a lot, really. I mean, it's being part of the industry, you find out about what's popular at the moment, and we will often look at the products which are popular and decide whether it's something we want to put our name to or not. And often we don't, because we just feel like there's not a lot of science behind it and it's just a passing fad. Something like Shilajit is very popular in Australia now, but we don't sell it because we weren't able to find a high quality version of it, and there's not a lot of data around its benefits. So we decided not to sell that, but we really just we get a lot of emails from customers about certain products they'd love us to stock, and so we use that data to kind of work out what our next products are going to be. And we're always looking for new superfoods that can help to change people's lives. And when we find them and when we can get them to a quality we're comfortable with, and the science is there to back it up, we stock them.
Certainly. So, Mr. Justin, as a founder of Forest Superfoods, can you recommend a book that empowered you to be better manager on Forest Superfoods?
Yeah, I think one book I would recommend is Unreasonable Hospitality. It's an incredible book that really helped me to rethink customer experience. It's a book about a guy who becomes the head of a failing restaurant and manages to build the restaurant up to where it's been considered the number one restaurant in the world 4 years in a row or something ridiculous like that. It's got Michelin stars, and it's world-renowned restaurant. And his whole thing was about making sure the customers have the most incredible experience. And so they would go above and beyond to blow the minds of their customers. And that really showed me how important it is to make sure customers have an incredible experience. If you say shipping is going to take 3 days, they should receive it in one. If you say the product could help with something, then it should help with that. If you say if there's an issue with their order, then that should get fixed really quickly. And so we really look at whenever there is, because we send out thousands of orders we send a few thousand orders every week, and so we are constantly thinking about when we do stuff up, how can we turn that into a positive. And so when people have a poor experience, they receive the wrong item or their order gets lost by the postal service or whatever it is, we're always looking for how do we turn that around so that it becomes a positive and they go, wow, these guys are really great to deal with. And so we're always looking for like how to resolve issues quickly and how to look after our customers as best we can. And we often give free products to our VIP customers, and we'll do special offers for people who have been with us for a while. And we just really try to look after people who are who choose to shop with us and who choose to give their money to us. It's not something we take lightly.
Certainly. People highly recommend it. Please read it, and it will empower you. Especially if you are a businessman or entrepreneur like Mr. Justin Snyder. Before we wrap up our discussion today, Mr. Justin, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, Food 101, in its fifth season. People, fifth season, with Chef Alessandro, one of the specialty chef in one of the five-star hotel in downtown Toronto. Please do listen to our latest episode. We are reading our letter senders all over the world. So please do listen, Food 101, wherever you're listening your podcast. So, Mr. Justin, what are the future goals of Forest Superfoods in terms of product development and market expansion?
So we want to be more. I think people outside of Australia appreciate Australian agriculture more than people in Australia do. So I think when people from overseas think about Australian grown products, they understand that it's grown in a pollution free environment and it's grown to a high standard. And so I think there's a big opportunity for us to offer our Australian grown superfoods and mushrooms around the world. And so we're really focused on international expansion at the moment and getting to more customers outside of Australia. And just launching. We've got a couple of really exciting new products coming out this year that we're working hard on. And just keep on making sure that our customers have an unreasonable experience, just like in the book, and keep helping us spread the word.
Mr. Justin Snyder, thank you so much for sharing your products to the world and make our Mother Earth better to live in. So, Mr. Justin, can you please invite our listeners to support all your products or your business itself?
So go to forestsuperfoods.com and have a look at all our Australian grown and premium grade mushrooms and superfoods, and you can place an order. It's free shipping to the US and Canada if you spend 120 USD. And hope you like it.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Justin Snyder or the Forest Superfoods, because if you support them, more empowering products to come. So, Mr. Justin, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Daniel. It's been a lot of fun.
More to come, people. See you soon.